DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Welcome to DJNTV and Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe. Now introducing the one and only Ben Stowe.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Hey, good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday night. That means it's Tuesday night with Ben Stowe night with the one and only Ben Stowe.
And for that, the world is grateful that it is the one and only.
Well, maybe. But
could you imagine if there was more than one of me?
Well, the George Lucas thing probably would have never happened because there would have been more money spent on the Star Wars universe, so much so that Disney couldn't have afforded it.
You're not wrong.
Just going to say, not everyone goes around with the Star Wars sweater, although at this time of the year, it is festive and appropriate.
It's pretty much the only thing in my suitcase right now is a collection of Star Wars.
Oh no, we lost audio. We lost audio and we lost video. So let's see. Yep, I'm still on. It went pew, and that was the end of it. There it is.
Okay, so I'm back. Maybe we'll just have to do it this way with the
built-in mic. Yep.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there was a popping sound, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I apologize. I'm using it could be this USB cable because I'm using a interface on the road here. So, of course you do. My friend Charles that I'm staying with here, he's a very professional sound guy. It's hard for me to say this, but he's probably better than me. He's going to see about bringing us a USB cable. He might go back to the other mic.
he's gonna wire it up, and by the time we're about halfway through the show, there's gonna be like 7 different microphones capturing every essence of Ben Stowe tonight. And how exciting would that be?
Well, not even kidding here. So as I was just kind of pulling this stuff, and I just grabbed some very simple things to bring with me on the road, and he was like, "Do you want monitors? I've got monitors." And then he starts telling me which monitors I can choose from. I've got these, and I've got these, and I've got these. I'm like, I'll be fine. I don't need, well, these have a little more presence, and these are like, listen, I'm good. I'm like, no offense, but I'm just listening to John's voice here, So.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the most stellar thing to be dealing with. I mean, it's YouTube. As long as they can hear us out there, we're good.
So he's on the hunt for some USB cables here. So
otherwise, this sounds good. Everything's coming through very well. So,
all right, we'll probably just stick with this then.
So Ben, tonight, what I wanted to kind of talk about is this is for those of you watching, and if you've been with us throughout the year and years. This is what did I come up with? I didn't even put the number of the show down. It was close to 160 shows that we have done. That would be considered the Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe shows. We've had more shows, but some of those were just a little clip here, a little clip there, and they really didn't quite fit into the repertoire. So we've done a lot of shows. And this being the last one of the year, I wanted to just kind of share some personal highlights from this past year that some people may be aware of if they follow our shows on a regular basis, and some people may have no idea, and it just gives them a little insight to the behind the curtain world.
We got a new USB cable. Do we want to try it? Could you stall for a minute while I plug this in?
No problem. While you're doing that, we'll be getting to the topic and such tonight, but down in the description, gang, there is the link for We're going to turn that down. The link for the DJ convention we're going to be doing in February in Las Vegas. Ben Stowe is actually going to be kicking us off Monday, February 24th at the DJNTV DJ Convention. That will be at the South Point Casino, 24th through the 27th. Basically, education's 24th, 25th, 26th. Exhibit hall is open the 25th, 6th, and 7th. A huge exhibit hall with photo booth, with DJ things, a lot of accessory type businesses, all there for the mobile entertainers. Worth checking out, if nothing else, just to come down and hang out with Ben for a couple of days, because he's going to be doing the keynote on Monday, kicking us off at noon, and then he's going to be coming back with an audio class on Tuesday for those who would like to learn more about how to make sound come out of a thing.
Well, so speaking of which, is sound coming out of a thing?
It is. You actually sound really good again.
Okay, good. Well, we're back on the RE320 mic, so I think it was just a USB cable that's been on the road for way too long. And true to his advertisement, Charles has brought me a collection of USB cables. So we have about 30 that we could go through here if we need to. Interestingly enough, you mentioned the class. And I've said this, a couple of different times on various shows, but the topics, I haven't finalized the topics yet. So viewers, this is an opportunity for you to help me make sure that your time is better spent. Share that information with myself and with John and say, this is what I'd like to know. Now, of course, no promises that we're going to hit everybody's request, but the more we hear something, the more likely I am to include that. So, how often do you get to craft your own seminar, right? And interestingly enough, too, when you talk about making sound come out of a thing, John, I'll just sort of give away one of the nuggets here. But the 3 rules of pro audio are: rule number 1, make sound; rule number 2, continue to make sound; and rule number 3, when possible, make good sound. So, that's what we'll do. We'll learn how to make sound come out of a thing, and then we'll learn how to do it consistently and do it better.
Well, there you go. There's the seminar right there. Now just fill in those gaps between those parts, and you're set.
Yeah, if you can do those 3 things, though, which obviously we just went through all those 3 steps just a minute ago when the USB cable died. First order of business is to continue to get back to making sound, right?
Making sound. That's for sure. So Ben, let's kind of share a couple of highlights from 2019. It's been a long year. A lot of things have happened, not only personally in our lives, but of course in the DJ industry. And I didn't want to just focus on DJ industry or business things, because sometimes it's kind of neat to for folks to kind of get that a little view of the personal side of Ben Stowe, not just the guy who's all numbers and measurements and that kind of stuff, but there's a man behind the geekdom.
So they say. Well, this wouldn't be limited to 2019, but I feel like this is a great one to kick off with. Is the fact that I'm sitting in Charles' living room, and I'm so blessed to have so many friends and just truly wonderful people I've met in the industry. The fact that I can be here and not in a hotel. And feel a bit at home, have him making his epic homemade iced tea, which is pretty good. But more importantly, the camaraderie and the friendship. And I remember a time I was driving south on the interstate, and he lives a little ways off of Interstate 29. And I didn't have time to stop really and visit him, but he knew I was on the way. And so he actually made a homemade meal and drove, 20 miles to the interstate for you? 25 miles one way to make sure I had a homemade meal on the road. So even though I ate it out of Tupperware, it was sure a lot better than some of the stuff you get on the road. So, I think for me that, again, just so many meaningful friendships. I was just in Las Vegas. I don't even know what day today is. I guess it's Tuesday because we're doing a show. Yes. So it would have been a few days ago I was in Las Vegas, and just by absolute chance ran into some friends that were 20 feet away from where we were, in Vegas, and didn't know it. And somebody made the comment, they said, Ben knows people everywhere. And I thought, how blessed are we to have friends everywhere? And when I say we, I mean our viewers too. Mm-hmm. It's a community we here.
Yeah, that it certainly is. And the world has become so much smaller in so many ways, and maybe more specifically just our United States map. But you think, I was having this conversation earlier with one of my children who's thinking about maybe relocating out of state. And it's like, well, were you thinking here? Oh, I know here, so and so and so and so and so and so. I mean, there's connections pretty much everywhere and it's just because of this family in this particular case, the DJ community that we've developed over the years, and it's such a cool thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Community is the word for it. So that wouldn't necessarily be a 2019 highlight. I think that would just be kind of a career highlight. That would be a lifetime highlight. These are people that there's genuine friendships here, and you really can't, there's really nothing more you can say about that. I mean, you can't put any kind of a value on that, so I love that I have these wonderful connections and viewers. Many of you watching, you probably fit in that category. So thank you for that.
It kind of bridges into one of the highlights from this year. Since you're right there, I'm going to just go there.
Do it. Yeah.
Is the experience at the Mobile DJ Meetup. It was a time where we could, as we're sitting in the back row, you're there, myself, Brian, and Howie, and having the opportunity to basically just kind of sit there and hang out with friends. And I was thinking about it, and probably none of the three of you got it, but there was a time where four of us were together, and I'm looking around, and they've got a big smile. There's Ben with a big smile on his face, Howie with a big smile on his face, Brian with a big smile, and it wasn't because of anything. It was just we were enjoying that moment together.
Yeah, it's genuine joy.
Yeah.
And I could we could try to enumerate the friends like this, and we would run out of time in the show, but you can't fake that, and I wouldn't want to. So I feel pretty good about that.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Let's see. Well, I just jotted down a couple quick things here and to try to sort of keep us on track. I don't know. It was hard to think about highlights, and probably because I don't think about the year so much in a linear sense. I'm not very good at keeping track. I'm not very good at, name dropping. When people say, "Oh, what artists you worked with lately?" I'm like, I don't know, it's somebody, And so I struggled to find a few things. You might remind me of a couple.
Mm-hmm.
I am very pleased though that NLFX, the company that I run, was again received awards for its outstanding performance as a dealer. I am particularly proud of the fact that these awards are not necessarily always just associated with number of boxes moved or volume, but rather the way that it's done. That we're being recognized for the quality of business that we do. And I think that ties back to those relationships.
Right.
You want to treat people that you cherish. You want to treat them well. So that's nice to add more hardware to the trophy case, though. So,
and I think that you really need to be commended. You have, over the years, you've been building that team up there of people who work well together, who enjoy working with each other, and have really caught that kind of vision to be that servant of the customer.
Well, we think it's really first and foremost all we sell. The products are about the same anywhere you go. It's the support behind them that I think is the differentiator. So that is what we're selling ultimately, is our desire to support them,
mm-hmm.
and our ability. I think that we're very lucky to have the technical backbone that we do, and believe it or not, I'm not the smartest guy in the building, so. We just can't let the other ones on camera, or I'd have no show. So,
well, we did a couple of times, and a couple of them were really quite good.
I think it was fun for some of these friends that I ran into in Las Vegas. A couple of our engineers were out there with me, and I think it was fun for them to meet these guys and see not only that they are incredibly smart, but that they're also just really great guys.
Mm-hmm.
That we do have this great character of people within the company, and. And frankly, people that aren't of good character just don't really stick around. They know they don't fit in,
Mm-hmm.
So it sort of, continues to breathe life into itself. Well, I guess notably, for all the stalkers out there, if there's any stalkers out there, you're going to need to update your data, because I moved. So that was new and noteworthy. I moved for the first time in 22 years. That would probably be much more of my wife's highlight than mine.
Mm-hmm.
But she really enjoys the new place, and I do too. In truth, just don't let her watch the show.
I would say that, we wouldn't have to worry about that, but then every once in a while she surprises us. And
sometimes I think they watch it just to see me. Just gosh, this has been such a whirlwind month of travel, and of course I'm on the road here now, and on a plane again Monday, and I'm really looking forward to being home for Christmas. That's going to be pretty awesome. Pretty excited about our first Christmas in the new home, and I think everybody's kind of getting along with the idea. So
nice.
And like I said, as a bonus, the stalkers can't find me right now, so they'll be frantically updating their data, I suppose.
So Ben, I want to kind of go on a little angle here, a little different. This past year, our second child has gone off to college and such, and it's kind of changed the dynamics in the house now, because I have three that are 16 or over, three children, and I've got the younger ones, and this kind of, because I know you've got a daughter who's out of the house also. Yep. One of the highlights from this year for me,
and hopefully out of college soon.
Here we go. Yeah, otherwise it gets expensive. But the interaction between the children as they get a little bit older, whether it's my now the 13-year-old daughter engaging with what have you, but I find this year that has probably been one of my highlights. And then unfortunately, you only get these little a 15. One of the highlights was when the three oldest ones were doing dishes, right, over Thanksgiving.
That would be a highlight. And
it wasn't because of them. It was just watching the three of them interact and engage. It was just a fabulous moment just to sit back and be, in essence, that fly on the wall. And after spending time with two of your children last year and such, I would imagine that's got to be something that when you can basically sit back and just watch them interact and do their thing, it's got to be just a real treasured time.
Well, absolutely. It's so funny because one of the other things that I put on my list is that my son started high school this year. And that's a highlight for so many reasons. One, not the least of which being that he's not repeating 8th grade. So that's good.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Dad.
Yeah. Well, I was the 8th grade dodgeball champion 3 years in a row. So, but no, I wasn't. Anyway, so, no, obviously happy that he is continuing to move on and the grade numbers are getting higher year after year. But also, there's a thing about high school that's just, there's something about when you say high school, you as they're growing, you certainly see this with your kids too. They're becoming adults, they're becoming young adults, and you see those glimpses of the adult they're going to be, of the person they're going to be. And I remember, of course, holding my son literally in my hand, all of him.
Yes.
And that moment is clearly gone because he's my size now. And I cherished those moments, and I loved when he was, so small and I was so big, and everything I did was right and magic. And, that was a beautiful time. And of course, it's a very different dynamic as a teenager, but I'm loving this time too. I'm loving that he's, becoming his own person, and he, sometimes challenges, whether or not I know what I'm talking about, and, those kinds of things. And, for example, I taught him the other day how to run the snowblower and adjust a choke. And for those who have no idea what a snowblower is, Google it anyway. But we've been using it a lot lately up north. And you start thinking, well, pretty soon he's going to be driving, and then he'll be off to college, and, and my daughter, maybe, someday they'll be married and they'll have families, and the whole dynamic that's ahead. And it is exciting. And of course I've got a younger daughter too, and it's really fun to watch her becoming who she is. She's just such a big personality, such a dynamic person. So yeah, I think that's what we aspire for as parents, right? I mean, it's what we're trying to do is help our children become adults. And I've met your children, and you've done a wonderful job. And so, yeah, we should just be able to enjoy that a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things we should enjoy, but it's one of those things that it's you get like this little sliver, and it doesn't happen all the time, and you've got to really be in that moment so that you can enjoy that moment, because if that's probably the biggest thing, is that we had this idea for Thanksgiving, we're going to get the kids together and it's going to be great. We're going to have this weekend of all doing all these things. And it's like, okay, everyone was in the same house, but there's so many dynamics and things going on that you get that 5 minutes.
Yeah, and by the way, my good friend Alan, my formerly good friend Alan, who has actually stayed in my new home, said he just posted the address on all the chat forums. So sure going to miss Alan. He was a good friend.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just got the same message here. So,
Alan's a great guy. If you don't know Alan, you are truly missing out. He definitely is one of the people on that list. And despite the fact that he apparently just outed my address to everybody.
He outed your address, and then he's going to,
I just realized that I had a picture here that summarizes kind of what you were saying. I rarely ever get sick. I'm very lucky that way. I guess probably because I'm always in these aluminum petri dishes with wings, so my immune system's on point constantly. But I did manage to pick something up in the last run of Phoenix or Dallas or something, and spent a few days kind of sidelined, and wasn't feeling good, and was trying to get better to get back on the road. And my daughter came and came into the bedroom and said, "Hey, you want to play a game?" And I thought, no, I don't. I really don't. I want to just lay here and try not to die. But then I recognized, fortunately, how fleeting those moments can be and how precious this opportunity could be. And so it's just one of those times where I actually did the right thing instead of the wrong thing. And my wife took this picture. So if you want to see what I look like when I'm sick, but there you go.
Connect 4.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you what, though, I'm not going to make that mistake again because I don't know if it was the lack of oxygen in my brain from being sick, but she won 7 out of 10. So not doing that again.
So she, in essence, she felt sorry for you for 3 times and let you win.
Yeah, she let me get 3. Yeah, I think she was just so busy celebrating she wasn't paying attention the other 3 times. It was good though. I was glad I did it. And I'm saying that really to encourage everybody out there that's listening. I was just on another podcast this morning, or maybe it was it was the other day, but it's in Europe. Don't worry, John. It doesn't compete with you. And they were asking about balancing that,
right.
Balancing family and a work schedule. And so this is just a little unsolicited advice for our users, but from the non-technical realm. I think a lot of people are home all the time. They're home, they do their 9 to 5 and they come home, but they're not really present. So the challenge for myself and the challenge for you, I would say, is to try to be present because that time is fleeting. And frankly, you don't know how much of it you have.
Yeah.
So
very true.
Take those opportunities and win the easy ones. Wasn't a monumental effort to walk down the hall, play a game.
No, and that's been another lesson from this particular year is that exact thing is that we've done some Connect 4. We played Connect 4 a little bit. You got them and sitting, and the kids are playing in their video game that they were on, and they're so excited, and they're building this world in Minecraft, and it's like, tell me about it. Just to sit down and for 15 minutes they told this story and they were going through and they're so excited and so proud of it and building this.
When you play Connect 4, do you usually win, John, or do you usually lose?
Depends.
Because I'm looking for somebody to help me get my confidence back.
Yeah, if it's competitive and winning isn't going to hurt other people's feelings, I don't lose too often.
Okay, all right. So you're not my guy. I'm looking for somebody soft. I need a couple of underbelt fights to kind of work myself back up. So
yeah, no, it's
just got KO'd by by like an 11-year-old. So
yeah, well, not that the kids have gotten really quite good and competitive with this, and then when they go and they play someone who's not, and they're like, what was this? I won in 4.
Like I said, we're going to blame it on the sickness. We'll blame it on the flu or whatever. Yeah, I think that was it. Something our family is rallying around right now too, which is kind of cool. It's just kind of fun that we all look forward to it. Is the Mandalorian? It's interesting because the TV can be kind of a battleground sometimes. I want to watch this. No, I want to watch this. Whatever. And that's something too. I'll say when we moved into the new house, we got rid of some TVs. We have less TVs in the new house than we did in the old house, and that was deliberate. And anybody out there, they can do whatever they want. If you have 50 TVs in your house, good for you. But we just thought, this is taking away from these opportunities. Right. And everybody's got, small screens that they can retreat to if they need to. But it's been great. It's been good. And anyway, the one thing that everybody agrees on is the Mandalorian, which is nice. So
I would echo that. That's one of the things that has been the only thing that we've been able to get the whole family together for. And granted, Brandon is off in college. But the rest, it's like, okay, so Saturday night, we're going to, we're on it. And the family gets together to watch that. And I can't think of any, not even, movies when we're watching a movie for the first time at the house have we been able to do that. But for some reason, this has become a thing. So we've been able to watch that as a family. So it's interesting that that's not only in our household, but other households. It's getting mom and dad and the kids together to spend that half an hour.
It's fascinating to me that the Disney, has taken the reins with Star Wars, but, we're talking about something that's, 42-year franchise here. That's pretty remarkable, because when I went to the Star Wars celebration in April, there were people from 8 to 80, and I am not exaggerating, probably younger than 8, who are really enjoying this. And I think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, just amazing what they've been able to do for so long and reaching so many people. Incredible.
Yeah, kind of interesting to see how Rise of Skywalker ends this whole thing. I've heard a lot of theories and some possible spoilers, and I won't divulge any here, but it's interesting too that in our small city where I live, the local radio station has asked me to come on the morning show as apparently the resident Star Wars expert and speak to the city for So I'm kind of struggling with how many spoilers I want to give away, because of course they're not necessarily confirmed, but I kind of thought, well, I don't know how much I want to talk about. Well, so it'll be interesting. I'll see. I'm just going to kind of do what I do here and just make it up. So.
Oh, that'd be great. What? He said that they were going to resurrect it. What happened?
Well, I got some theories, now that you saw the latest trailer with the Sith dagger on it, I don't want to get into it, but I got some, and you know what? I almost kind of hope I'm wrong. In some ways, some of the ways where I feel like this is going, I hope it's a giant misdirection by Disney. But I think we're reading between the lines probably correctly here. So we'll see. Either way, I'm gonna hopefully enjoy the movie, and I'm obviously still going to wear Star Wars shirts. So
yeah, and that will be another time when we can get everyone together and go hit the matinee with the 4 buckets of popcorn type of thing, and have some fun with that.
Come up and join our family, John. We get I'm waiting for my brother to fly in from California to just gonna get the whole family together. You should come up and join us. That would be
kind of a fun weekend. Although we'd be debating, and the problem is that I'm the book guy, so I've read all of the books beyond, and I have a tough time.
I don't see the problem here. I think this you'd fit right in. So we're probably going to go around Christmas time when everybody's home. So
yeah,
and I guess not for nothing. Back on the highlights thing, I should mention that we just finished, I guess, what would be our 25th year in business, which is pretty wild to think about that. Yeah, the company was founded late '93, so I guess that would be 25 years as it works out, or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, somewhere in that 25.
26, yeah.
So pretty cool. Pretty cool to think back that just like your kids.
Yeah.
Hasn't it's changed.
Yeah, not many people can start a business at 10 years old, Ben. You got to be congratulated.
Yeah.
So
the Doogie Howser of DJs.
So I wanted to go on in probably the highlight. It's a moment that has become anticipation in our lives, and it's become kind of a dread point. It's that bittersweet moment. We had our second child who had graduated this year, and I like graduations, but I find that when it's my child involved with the graduation, there's just the emotional moment of what's going on, that you're there and you're wanting to celebrate this moment, and it's like, oh, well, they've done this, and they've, great. And then is that whole signifying that an era has come to an end. Again, it's a bittersweet moment, more bitter than sweet in some cases, because of as we went back and you made reference to holding your son in one hand. I was actually having that thought yesterday about my one son who can pick me up now. He's in 5th grade, and he can actually. It's like right here. You were here.
You're right. That era is over, John, and I don't always like it either. Sometimes, I wish I could stay young forever. I wish my kids could stay young forever. But that's, first of all, it's not reality. And second of all, that isn't what we're built for.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, I have to remind myself that that's a selfish thought.
Yeah.
And that aging is, ultimately the way things work, and mortality, nobody likes it. I'm not a big fan of it. But it is what it is, and our kids, need to grow and mature and become adults and have their own kids. And that's how this whole thing works. I remember one time coming off the road. My son was very young, maybe 4 or 5. And, the road can beat you up sometimes. Yeah. And I was just exhausted. And so I was sleeping in a little bit. I was laying in bed, and, it's maybe 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning or something. And, I was just kind of laying there, not really feeling inspired to get up. And he kind of climbed in on top of me, and just kind of clambered on the bed, and when they do, they're just all elbows and knees.
Yeah, for sure.
And then he kind of laid down beside me and didn't say a word. And it was just kind of a sweet moment. And then just out of the blue, out of the mouth of babes, as they say, he said, "Daddy, I don't want you to die." And I thought, wow, where did that come from? What goes into a 4-year-old's head that he would say that?
Right.
But I thought, well, I'm not a big fan of the idea either, but I think it's just a reminder to cherish the time that we have and make the most of it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Those seasons, they change, and it's saying goodbye to one and now enjoying the next round of what's coming next.
Well, exactly. That's the whole goal. We are raising our children so that they can carry on. And well, at least we've got 150 shows in the can, so there's an archive of when we were young.
Yeah, exactly. And
you know what, John? We're going to be like the old guys in the Muppets. That'll be the next generation of show we do.
Yeah, it'll be a combination of the Muppets, the Muppet Balcony, and the Mystery Science Theater. It'll be great.
I'm down with that. I'm totally down with that.
Yes. So kind of speaking of that transition from one to that part of their lives to the next. One of the cool things this year is both at NAMM, I took my two teenage sons at the time, and it's been kind of a neat thing, with Michael coming to a couple of DJ conventions and things, watching your children interact with other adults in a semi-professional manner or in a business situation. That's something that I never would have thought would have been such a heartwarming, touching, what have you type thing. And you just see that here's my child interacting at a high level with another adult, and the respect that not only that they're giving that adult, but the respect they're getting back from this adult, and then not in a high school situation. That's been kind of a cool thing that I've maybe noticed more this year, or maybe it's just happened more. I don't know, but I've appreciated it a lot more this year.
Well, I did bring my oldest daughter to Mobile Beat this year, and kind of same. You can't help but just sort of feel good about the person that they are, and enjoy watching them, like you said, be an adult. Now, she is an adult, obviously, into her 20s, but yeah, it's. And I wonder if our parents thought the same thing. Mm-hmm. I guess, I wonder if my dad looks at me and says, wow, my little boy who can't tie his shoes is running a company. How is that possible?
Yeah.
Frankly, some people in the company might ask the same question, but, anyway, I mean, I suppose that's just part of the deal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just one of another of those changing seasons, but just being that parent who can just stand back and just watch that moment and appreciate it. And in many situations, especially at trade shows, we're busy running and doing our things, that we may miss those opportunities to just sit back and say, wow, that child is representing themselves at a very high level and is doing something at a very high level, which sometimes I look back at 16, 17, 18 years old. I don't know if I would have been that person able to do that.
Well, it's it's a learned behavior, John. So pat yourself on the back for that. They've obviously watched you and Lori, and they've figured out from your example how they're supposed to be. So
yeah.
But I guess if I'm going to say that, if I'm going to give that compliment to you, then I have to take the blame for my kids. So,
No.
I am kind of the fun dad sometimes. My wife is a wonderful woman. She's, just a wonderful keeper of the household. She is the reason that they make it to school on time. I get all that. And I think that, for me being on the road when I come home, I'm kind of, I'm not really, I don't want to be the disciplinarian, I want to do the fun things. So I guess probably, yeah, most of their bad habits do come from me, but anyway, I also have the good sense not to cross Mama Bear, like, hey, whatever she says goes. So don't get me in the middle of this. I don't want to be in trouble too.
Exactly. If you're going to do the crime, you can take care of the time, not me.
Yeah, and I don't want to air out all of our family stuff on the internet, of course, mostly because I want to have a place to come home to when I get off the road. But there are times sometimes a kid will text you and say, "You need to talk to mom." I'm like, "Oh no, If I was you, I'd hitchhike to the chocolate store and go buy some candy and come back and plead your case."
See, and I think that's one of the jobs as a dad is that we have to convey, especially to our male children, that.
I wasn't naming names.
That's why I made reference to the male children. That sometimes you have to understand that there are going to be times when you need to lose the battle, because it's just not going to and that's anything in life. Sometimes the battle's not as important as keeping a relationship or keeping a situation in a healthy area. Yeah, we've had that lesson a few times this year, with not specifically with parents and such, but just inter sibling relationships. It's like, it's not. Don't fight this one. Don't argue this one. It's just not going to get better.
Oh yeah, that whole dynamic, and like you said, it's fun to watch it unfold.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to watch them learn to interact with each other as they learn new skills. So
yeah,
new social skills and whatever. So.
I'll get a couple minutes left. Ben, looking into 2020, is there anything that, what kind of give us an idea of where will Ben Stowe be headed to here in the early part of the year, and anything that beyond February? Of course, February is like the highlight of the time.
Yeah, that's one of my highlights for 2019 is being asked to speak at your show. So that was right at the top of the list too, by the way. I haven't given it a ton of thought yet, but some of the things, of course, I will probably have to go to NAMM. I think for a lot of people say, "Oh wow, it must be great." Well, it's a lot of work for me, so I think NAMM will be certainly something I'll need to do. Oh, look at this! Look at this! All right, here we go. The Empire Strikes Back. Vintage, baby.
Video cassette.
Vintage.
That's before it was released.
Really?
Oh, wow.
They sent to the studio to make commercials out of.
This is dated May 9th, 1980.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Dramatic tape. Look at it.
Yeah, here we go. Let's pop it open here. Well, no, but I need one hand to eat the ice cream.
I know. Delivering of ice cream. I'm envious.
All right. A bunch of people's minds are about to explode here.
Look, it's 20th Century Fox, not Lucasfilm.
Yeah, 20th Century Fox.
There's a piece of history right there.
Yeah, I bet you never saw one of those, huh?
Not that size.
Well, I didn't mean you. I just meant the viewers, but
You
some viewers. Howie's probably got 10 of them. Yeah. So yeah. Crazy. May 9th, 1980. Well, now you can see why Charles and I are friends. So. Let's see. Of course, I'll be at your show. There is, it's not in stone yet, but there's certainly a chance I could be at Mobile Beat. That I don't know yet. I don't think anything's been solidified there as to whether or not we're exhibiting or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do exhibit, I'm not sure if I would be there. So those things are up in the air yet. then of course, our symposium, our lighting symposium and our sound symposium in April in Minneapolis. I'll be there. But I really, I don't know. I'm not really thinking about where I'm going to be in 2020 just yet. You know, I'm obviously trying to prepare for the obligations that I have. But other than that, I'm trying to just enjoy what's left of 2019 and focus on getting home and having Christmas with the family. And and then, you know, we'll deal with 2020 when it gets here, I guess. So.
And we watch the end of the Star Wars saga.
Yeah, that's all I'm really thinking about.
Really, that's pretty much it. Yeah, everything else is just secondary. So,
is Rey a Palpatine or not? The world needs to know.
Exactly. You just threw a teaser out now.
I did. You see what I did there?
I did. Now everyone's gonna be like, oh.
Well, somehow we have to figure out how Ian McDiarmid's character, you know, Darth Sidious or the Emperor, whatever you want to say. Somehow we have to figure out how
he made
not Darth Sidious. Never mind. How the Emperor or Senator Palpatine is what I was trying to say. You know, how the Emperor factors back into this thing. You know, so and there's a lot of theories about. You know, he talks about you know that. Other Sith have mastered the ability to create life or preserve life or extend life, and so maybe he's not really dead, or maybe he cloned himself, or you know. But we know he's back. I mean, that much has been given away. We hear his laugh, and we see a shot in the trailer. So somehow he's back. So the question is why and how and where does Rey fit in? I don't believe that she is, as Kylo Ren said, you know, just the offspring of filthy junk traders. I think that she is going to have a bigger role. So be interesting to see. But.
It's interesting in the book. There's I don't remember the exact book, but the book that leads up to the movie starting, and there's a scene in the book where Leia is talking or thinking about Rey with her connection, and she feels at that moment or something to that effect that Rey may be more powerful in the Force than any of them that she has ever experienced, which is kind of interesting. So you might be setting that up.
It is, and I kind of like the direction they're going with the Force, which it better not involve midichlorians. For the love of all that's good and great in Star Wars, it better not involve midichlorians. But, you know, the Force doesn't really belong to anybody. They made that fairly clear in Episode 8. You know, it's not the domain of the Jedi or the Sith, but certainly people are more sensitive to it. So anyway, you know, at the end of the day, and people are going to gasp when I say this, people are going to just, you know, they're going to be shocked that I would say this, but it's just a movie. You know, at the end of the day, it's just a movie, you know, so.
And there goes all of our Star Wars fans right there.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't mean I don't have to be a fan or can't be a fan.
Right, but you're not.
Charles just kicked me out. So, well, there you go.
There you go. The lights are out and the mics.
Well, I'm taking my ice cream with me just
USB,
so you know.
The cable's gone. So, well, Ben, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you much for your knowledge and your sharing this year as we finish out another year. For those wondering, this is our 5th year of doing shows. We started in 2014.
Wow.
And now we've had, you know, obviously there have been times where we've not had shows for a period of time because of different commitments and such. But yeah, we've got a lot of shows out there, and you guys can go out to DJNTV.com/Ben Stowe, and that will take you to the playlist, and you can go and relive. Actually, I'd probably go all the way back to the first show when we had internet issues and stuttering.
Well, you know, the world has changed, and it's interesting too, because I still post links to some of the early shows because questions were answered that are still being asked today, and they're still, you know, the technology hasn't changed that much in 5 years that these things aren't relevant.
Yeah.
Most of them are still right on point.
Yeah.
So about 160 shows we've done officially in 5 years. That's about 32 shows a year. That's that sounds like a lot. And then I think about the fact that you do this 4 nights a week with other people too. So hats off to you, John.
Yeah,
so.
It gets to be kind of busy, but that's one of those things we try to make sure we spend those moments when we can with the children and the family and doing the things we can. So, well, I think this is it. This is the end for 2019.
This is our season finale.
This is the 2019 finale. We'll be back first.
We didn't really leave it as a cliffhanger, did we? Didn't really leave people like wanting the season premiere in 2019 or 2020. So
the closest we'll be is the whole, you know, Palpatine thing. You know.
Yeah, will Ben still be a Star Wars fan in 2020?
Or will John be, because it doesn't follow the canon of the books at all?
Well, I'm still going to be a fan. I again, and there's always the Mandalorian. They're doing a pretty good job with that.
They have done well with that. So once again, thank you guys for being with us, and have yourself a great Christmas if you don't catch any of our shows between now and then. Otherwise, if you're hanging out tonight, Brian Red and Jay Brannon will be here in about 15 minutes on the channel. Go to youtube.com/discjockeynews/live. There we go. And you'll find
you let those two guys loose on a show together.
I do. And then I walk away because if I don't,
that's a great way to end the year. I'll tell you what, that will have people wondering what's coming. So.
All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you in a little bit. Bye-bye.